Hey, what's going on, Mario? Welcome to another episode. Hold on a second. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of H2O. I'm Mitch Estrada, and my co-host here is Mr. Mario.
How are you, my man? How are you? It's been an interesting couple of weeks, as always, in our logistics world, right?
Yeah, it's been crazy, absolutely crazy, but it's been fun. It's been really
And fun.
fun, I think.
Yes.
So, I've been reading in the news lately a big issue in the domestic market. They're saying that the domestic market is tanking. The spot rate market is going down completely. Did you hear anything about this?
It's funny because when we first started this show this morning, when we talked about what we're going to talk about and so on, I I brought up Uber Freight, and the only
Yep.
reason why because I've been trying it a bit, right? And I've noticed actually the cool part about it is you can actually track the prices. And I noticed that prices actually have come down a little bit, which is really
Right.
interesting to me because of the fuel prices being as expensive. I have no idea why the domestic prices has gone down a bit, and
Right.
some of the local hauls, they were quite cheap actually, you know.
Sure.
So I was surprised about
Sure.
that.
I mean, do you think that these rates drop because of all the backlogs in China? Stuff's just not coming here. Truckers are trying to fight for freight, so rates are starting to go down. I mean, do you think that that's
I
playing a
I
factor?
I think the freight rates have been the truck rates have been so high. They've been
Yeah,
so elevated because if you still
sure,
look at the freight rates where they were pre-COVID, we are probably still 30, 40, 50% high, right? So I
sure.
think I think what it is, it's a dip, a small dip because of kind of the fuel prices shut up, the truck rates shut up, right? And now people saying, okay, and things kind of normalize itself a little bit. That's that's
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
but people can question and go completely crazy over a 30-40% increase in the domestic market, right? Like
Yes.
complete nuts. Yet a ocean carrier can go up 200 to 250%, and people are just willing to pay it.
Well, and also I think
Like,
the biggest
are we
difference
fighting
is
the
on that.
wrong war?
No, well, and also I think on the trucking side, really the biggest difference on that is that you know you need capacity, right? And you got
Sure.
to move that container, right? And most of the time
Absolutely.
you got to get it to your customer, right? So I think
Yep.
that's why there's a little bit more flexibility on the trucking, if you ask me.
Sure. No, I definitely agree. But that also brings me to something that I read about a day or two that I really wanted to bring up during our talks today. And
Yeah,
that is the Freight Waves launches the new truckload indicator, right?
right.
So I guess this is going to be giving us information of what's going on in the domestic market. So I read the article. I sent you the article. I don't know if you got a moment to read
Yeah,
it
I
or
peeked at it. Yeah.
what I mean. My thoughts. What are your thoughts about this? I mean, do you think that Freight Waves like should really start monitoring and having this information? Like, you know, for what? Like
Well,
we have other players in the market. These guys are
I
backed
I
by some.
I think tracking historical rate data is always
Sure.
interesting, right? And
Agreed.
when I looked at it, most of the stuff was on an average per gallon, right?
Right.
Or was it per mile? I'm not quite sure, but
Yeah, it was per
uh,
mile, the per mile rates, I'm sure.
but I think that's interesting data, to be honest, Mitch.
Yep.
I like data, right? It's good to see that we went from less than a dollar or less than $2 all the way up to 350, and now we're back down to 289. I think that's interesting data. I don't really think
Sure.
it will do anything to you, right? Because at
Sure.
the end of the day, the prices are driven by supply and demand, right? And if it's a really hot lane, you got to pay to get capacity, right? So I
Right.
don't.
But you're talking more fuel. I understand fuel. Market for fuel, I understand. All right. But
No,
let's
no, I'm
talk
talking
about
about truck rates in general, right?
sure.
Total truck
But
rates. Yeah,
right. So, but my biggest issue is with this new system is this, they grab the 7 day national average, right? For
right.
what's going on. Um, I don't personally understand how that's going to be measured because in some articles it mentions it and in some of it it doesn't. It's saying that this sector of the truckload represents 90% of the freight services, but it will only, here goes, the NTI moves average measures dry van truckload transactions that have been booked, not invoiced. Now, I know you're not too much involved in the domestic market, but there are hundreds of loads that are booked that
Yes.
get dropped.
Yes.
So, how is this going to be accurate? It is not going to be accurate. I don't know why they have it. This is the most foolish indicator, and it's going to try to manipulate the market, in my opinion. This is a complete manipulation of what they're trying to do to the market. Those are big words to say. Those are very big words to say. But how is it that you know that you're in the trucking industry? Loads get put on the board every day, every hour, every minute, and they come off just as quick, right? It's mind blowing. This is like, and I can't even say it because I don't want to get in trouble, but it's baloney. I would not believe this report. I think this is them trying to control now a spot rate market to try to get all these, big companies that are doing full truckloads back and forth to try to lower and minimize these truckers are going to get pissed. So I think this is BS personally. So
oh, I know. Well, and also I think it's kind of interesting on who is creating these indexes, right?
Exactly.
It's like almost like letting the wolf into the hen house type of situation, right? Is if it's a competitor, so somewhat that it creates an indication. I'm always questioning why.
Sure.
But there's normally an alter ego or a different ultimate or a different outcome that they're trying to reach. That's my only thoughts on that.
And it's funny if you really go look at the Freight Waves website and stuff, and you can see some of their big sponsors and a lot of people that they talk about. These are big brokerage firms, man. These are like the biggest brokerage firms.
Right.
It's just too many hands. They want a piece of it. It's going to be data that they're going to be able to sell. That's exactly what it is. They're starting to learn that technology is starting to get really strong in our industry. And now they want to get data to sell it because that's exactly what they're doing here. Because to try to calculate a spot market, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, that data is not a constant. It changes every second. I don't know. It's just when I read it, I was like, this is a pathetic way to try to get their hands around information to give to all of their sponsors because they don't have an explanation and they can't figure out how to control this. So now they're doing this crazy indicator, which I think is baloney. Now, listen, if it's based on invoiced, completely different, Mario.
Yeah, but who wants to share that information, right? It's just like, I mean, I'm doing domestic trucking all the time, and nobody ever asked me for my invoices. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, honestly, Mitch, we have seen this so many times on ocean freight indexes and all that kind of stuff. They are normally far, far, far away from reality. And I have not seen a good indication or indicator that really shows true market data, right? It's a sample size of a penny versus how big the market is. So I'm not sure how many trucks are being dispatched every day in the U.S., but it's my argument will be it's hundreds of thousands of trucks every day that are being dispatched.
Sure, absolutely. And I'm reading a lot of them, owner operators, people don't understand owner operators don't work directly for these companies. They're outsourced. So what I believe they're trying to do is manipulate this so that that's like the average or what's going into the market so that they can beat up their truckers instead of them really fighting the real battle, which is fighting these ocean carriers and reducing our rates, ocean rates, so that everything does start to kind of get back into the plane. But you know what? I still support the trucking companies into raising their fuel because it has to be covered. I have also seen trucking companies that their rates are staying the same. But obviously with the increase of fuel, that's going to go up and, they might go up a little bit, 5-10%. It's worth it. You need the goods. But you're still willing to pay 250% over importing containers. And keep in mind, this is a fact. Even though cargo is slow right now, imports are still booming. We're
Right.
still importing like beasts. So
No, I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Mitch. It's just going to be interesting to see what's going to happen and how well it actually does.
it
So
is. You know what we should do, Mario? Let's do the exact show, and let's take data down for a month. Let's see what kind of data this new index gives us, and let's analyze it. Let's read it
sure,
after a month and see if they're anywhere near where they're supposed to be. Because
absolutely, I think it
I
would be very interesting to look at that.
Yeah, I mean, this is like it's a Fugazi, and it's the best one I've seen yet. So, and it's a big player doing it. So we'll see. All right, guys. Well, hopefully you guys all enjoyed the information. I think this is really exciting news, especially with this new system coming in, this new indicator. Let's see how much more they're going to how many more curveballs they're going to try to throw into our industry to confuse us. And this is completely ridiculous. All right, Mario, you have a good one.
All right, buddy. Thanks so much.
Take care, man. You bye.
Bye.